Welcome, everybody. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Okay, everybody, good evening and welcome to Community Board 12. This is the Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee. I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. We have no quorum, we do have quorum, right? How many members do we have? We have four. Well, we don't have resolutions to pass tonight. So that's not something to worry, but I do want to acknowledge that we do not have quorum. It is 6:36 p.m. Let me just promote. I have a problem. I cannot do two things at the same time. So I'm here promoting people to be panelists. I think this is the last one. I welcome everybody, or we welcome everybody. I hope everybody signed in. Help yourself to an agenda. I don't have much to report, but I do want to point out, not an error, but an adoption to the agenda. Proposed ideas and new projects, that was last month's agenda. So we're going to strike that item out because that was for last month when we were proposing new projects to be funded by the city council. Okay, all right. And with that, I don't have much to report other than we have been brokering conversations of issues that have, or concerns that have emerged. So I welcome those of you here to express those concerns, and also to remind everybody that we're here to have productive conversations and to hopefully find plausible solutions. That is my report. I don't know if the committee has anything else to report or to say.
Do we have the results from last month? Like how we ranked things?
No, because remember that they're going to be now redistributed by agency. So everybody can see how we ranked internally, but then how those appear for the final rankings, I think that has to do with the new system, which is that now these projects will get redistributed to the agencies.
So for us, it's just parks and DCLA, probably.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Okay, so I welcome everybody online. I don't think that anybody else needs to be promoted as a panelist. If so, oh, good. Our vice chair and minute taker is here. Thank you so much, Alexis. I can now breathe and relax, and so can Eitan, who volunteered to take the minutes. We're gonna move to. Also, as usual, programming and updates is the second item on the agenda. And then we'll move to Morris Jamel Mansion. We're gonna start with updates. I'm going to start with, I always have this person almost last, so I'm going to reserve the privilege of having her go first. Gaia Samurkas from Friends of Inwood Hill Park. Gaia, go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. We have wrapped up our weekly. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have wrapped up our weekly stewardship events. They went really well. We finished our fire ecology walk that was funded by the City Parks Foundation's Green Fund grant. So that's been really great. We also had an impromptu collaboration with the Uptown Photo Walk. So thank you to Emmanuel and Cesar, who were wonderful. And our sort of surprise final announcement is that we are doing a sort of capstone 3-hour-long fire ecology walk with the Natural Area Conservancy this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., meeting at Seaman and Isham. That Eventbrite, I believe, is full right now, but we are taking RSVPs, so I encourage everyone to show up, and since we're probably going to have a few dropouts, and I can send the flyer for that to Alexis via email. I don't know if it can be posted in the chat, but I'm happy to.
What you just said, like in a narrative, that'd be great.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, dear.
I'm not sure if I can post it in the chat, but I'm happy to share that with any of the participants if they would like to do that. So we're mostly wrapped for the season. We're going to be doing some last minute winter mulching. We might be having a larger lecture series to keep the sort of park knowledge and engagement going over the winter months, but we're sort of winding down our active programming until we hit the beginning of March. We might have some further announcements based on something that we're doing with the Isham entrance refresh, but I will leave it to Parks to say when we can, what details we're going to reveal about that, since we're working with partnership with a few other groups.
And that's your
Sure.
time, Kaya.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. As a reminder to those organizations that are doing programming reports, it would be greatly appreciated if you can just type up a blurb of your announcements and forward it to Alexis. It will help her tremendously.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Ethan, I'm gonna have to ask you if you wouldn't mind taking these minutes now, because I just realized I forgot my glasses.
I would love taking the minutes.
I adore
Oh,
you.
thank you.
No problem.
We have the best committee.
And just send them over to me and I'll finish it out.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
No, it was almost.
Good teamwork. I do.
Oh, no, I didn't. I lied.
I can still take the minutes, whatever you like.
And now
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
We're on a different
So-
day than usual.
My
Off
goodness.
my mind.
Yes.
It's a public record.
I won't
Okay.
include that in the minutes.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
so,
I can do it.
the
Send what
next
you got.
person, that I will call on, let's call on Julie Hecht. Joy, I'm so sorry. I'm reading Julie McCoy, Joy Hecht, both water, boats, and all of that. Please, 2 minutes.
All those votes.
So
Okay,
sorry.
Yeah, am I being picked up by this system?
You should be,
Yeah,
yes.
Your
Okay,
voice.
there I
Yeah.
am. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm Joy Hecht, I'm with Harlem River Community Rowing, so is my friend Bob here, but somehow I talk now. So, just a couple things. We had an Inwood Park cleanup last week on the 8th, which was coordinated with the Parks Department. We had a lot of volunteers come out after practice, picked up a lot of trash, raked a lot of leaves. Generally had a good time because we lucked out on fantastic weather, so that was nice. We are almost done for the season, which is also a good thing because, as you may have noticed, the weather isn't quite so fantastic anymore, and we've been freezing our butts off this week. We're trying to sort out our winter training. Our last weekend of training, of practices, the weekend before Thanksgiving. We're sorting out winter training so we don't all turn into a bunch of slugs while we're off the water for 4 months, and also so we can see our friends. And we'll be back on the water in April. So if you're interested in rowing next year, send us an email. Our boats all get sort of packed up for the winter and put to bed. On the 23rd, we're having a big work day to do that. Our boats unfortunately stay exactly where they are all winter, which is not good for them. But as you may have noticed, we don't have a boathouse. We do have covers for them, so we take off all the riggers and we put on the covers, and all the other equipment gets shipped off to somebody who actually has a house in Connecticut with a garage. So she takes care of all of that. So if you're in the park in the Scotomarsh, over the winter and you notice our boats there, just, give them a gentle pat so they know they're not forgotten. And if anything about them looks weird, like something has fallen on them or anything looks like it shouldn't be that way, send us an email. Our email address is on one of the banners around there. And I think that's all. Maybe I'm under my time.
By 15 seconds.
Wow, I talked fast.
Very good. Thank you so
And I
much.
have notes for you, whoever's taking minutes.
Fantastic.
Proper
We
prose.
appreciate that. Now I'm gonna go to Julie McCoy.
Send it to me.
Hello everyone.
James.
Okay. So I'm Julie McCoy. I'm the Commodore of the Inwood Canoe Club, New York City's oldest continually operating paddle sport club since 1902. We are, as Joy mentioned, in the cool months, so it's a little too cold for casual paddling. However, we have had 2 shoreline cleanups, one the first weekend of October and another one the first weekend of November. And in October, we had 14 volunteers, and in November, we had 8. I'll send all of this to Alex. And that's kind of what we've been doing. Otherwise, just getting into our winter maintenance projects and figuring out what we're going to do next year. Probably won't be terribly different than what we've done the past 20 years.
Oh, wow. I think that was the shortest programming report ever. Thank you,
Slow
Julie.
Well, Julie, I have to say, when I was doing the minutes, I actually when I was rereading it, I got a kick out of everything that you found, like when you did the shoreline cleanup. Like you found like a city bike and a rug.
Oh yeah. I was still waiting for the details on these 2, but there's always trash and recyclables and broken glass, but there's always 1 or 2 like, how did that get there? What's the story? So I'm sure we'll get that.
Nothing is surprising in New York City. We have Catherine Hughes from the Morris Jamel Mansion. Catherine, do you want to do 2 minutes of programming?
I can do less than that, but I can talk about the one event that we have coming up, which is on Wednesday, November 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. which is going to be fantastic. It's a virtual parlor chat on the art of Sankofa, and it is looking at primarily the work of Larry Neal. And so John Reddick, who is a local historian of Harlem and Uptown, he is interviewing Evelyn Neal in our mansion. And so we're going to stream that live. And so people will be able to see his interview with Evelyn talking about the work of her husband during the 50s, 60s, and 70s when he was a leader in the Black Arts Movement. So tune in for that. It's free. You can register on our website, morrisjamel.org, and you can sit at home and enjoy the conversation, which should be great.
I got a question for you, Catherine.
Question.
And this is just even great. Are you doing any more paranormal investigations? I missed the October one.
I hate to tell you that we are done with paranormals. We finished up our fall paranormals. So we are done for right now.
So, and I just wanted to explain a little bit more, if you don't mind. Can I tell people a little bit more about Larry Neal?
No, go ahead.
Yes,
Sure.
people know who he is. So he was
Larry was a playwright, and a writer, and a teacher and activist who did a lot of work in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He did die, unfortunately, young, at 43, and he lived across the street from the mansion. And his family still lives in the same house across the street from the mansion. And they are very, very happy to share his legacy in terms of what he contributed to the Black Arts Movement, because he was a very big player in that.
And his wife, Evelyn, you know, she was a chemist.
And Evelyn herself had her own career, but she will be, in this instance, talking about the Black Arts Movement in this area in Washington Heights and Harlem.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Jenna, I know, who is the person reporting on programming on behalf of Parks?
Carlos Acosta.
There
He's
you go.
Hello,
So
hello.
Carlos, 2 minutes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to first start with this weekend. There is a commemoration of the Battle of Fort Washington in Fort Tryon Park on the 16th at 12 p.m. Essentially, reads here, step back in time and experience the sights and sounds of the Revolutionary War at the historic commemoration of the Battle of Fort Washington. Folks will be meeting at Cafe Lawn in Fort Washington Park. This event brings history to life with a dramatic live battle reenactment, 18th century demonstrations, and hands-on activities for all ages. The other event I also want to highlight is the Native American Heritage Month event by the Rangers called the Lenape. During Native American Heritage Month, explore the past and present experience of Native Americans, learn more about the rock shelters in the ancient tulip forest of Inwood Hill Park, and the rich culture, history, and traditions of the Lenape. And finally, the last thing I want to highlight is this special workshop that's coming out on Wednesday. It's going to be a Zoom workshop, November 19th from 6 to 7:30. It essentially is a workshop about how to improve your local green space. If anyone's not familiar with Partnerships with Parks, they host this workshop that allows people to learn about how to lead an It's My Park project or apply for the NYC Green Fund grant. It's a great way to get started in supporting your local parks. And I think that's all for now.
Okay, any questions about programming? Because Parks does have a report. All right. I do have, there's a Danielle Monopoly, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Are you from an organization? I'm sorry, I have to ask.
It's Monopoly, and I'm giving the presentation on the construction work at the Morrisville Mansion.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, thank you so much for that. I thought it was Catherine. That's why. Thank you so much. You're coming on the agenda pretty soon. So, unless anybody else, we also have a former board member, James Bosley, who's here, and he has requested 2 minutes to speak on some updates. We're happy to have you. We miss you on the community board.
Thank you, I miss you too. I'm James Bosley, former member of the board, also a founder of Up Theater Company. I don't know if you're familiar with us, but we're a professional theater company and we perform works of theater exclusively uptown in Washington Heights and Inwood. We thought we should bring professional theater up here, and so we've been doing that for 15 years. We have a program coming up November 21st and 22nd. Happens to be a play that I wrote. If I can give you a very brief blurb, maybe I can't. No, I can't. It's about a neighborhood. It's very similar to our own, and various characters describe their lives and their thoughts and their dreams and their disappointments and their disputes. And then an unthinkable event happens that makes all of that suddenly seem irrelevant. Can't tell you what that unthinkable event is. You'll have to come and see it. It's free, and we are
What's the name of it?
We were performing at in 2 different locations. One is Fort Washington Collegiate on 181st in Fort Washington. The other one is at Holy Rood on 179th in Fort Washington. That's the 21st and 22nd of November. And I think that's it. I'm going to have some flyers. Can I leave some here?
Of course.
And there's a Q code on it. If you want to take the flyer, just snap the Q code and you get all the information.
So I have a question. So on
Yes.
11/21, it's going to be at Fort Washington or at Holyrood?
At Fort Washington,
And 11/22 is going to be at Holyrood?
yes, the 22nd at Holyrood. And I should also add that the performance on the 22nd at Holyrood, we're going to have Spanish translator doing simultaneous translation. We try to do that in all our performances these days. At least some of the events will be translated.
And what's the name of the piece?
Oh, the name of it is All That We Know at This Time, which is a quote from the play of a police spokesperson's press conference. So maybe that's a hint, sort of, of what might be. All right, thank you.
And
I'll leave some flyers here.
Questions?
it's just the time on the,
It's 7:30 for both
both nights?
performances.
Okay, thank you,
yes.
Thank you so much. Good
Thank
luck
you.
on that.
Thank you.
And on behalf of my linguistic tribe, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay then, does anybody else have a 2-minute announcement programming that you would like to make? Anybody, another panelist, any of the attendees? Please make sure you let me know in the chat. Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to move it along. I'm sorry for the order of the agenda. Please accept my apologies, but the next on the agenda will be parks with updates. And it's not arbitrary. It's usually like this, but I guess there was a kerfuffle in the office. So my apologies on behalf of the office for that.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So a few notes. Our Marina Director, Nate Grove, and colleague Carissa May are here related to the Dyckman Marina reconstruction. I just want to check, Luana, is that listed as a separate presentation for you tonight, or would you like to start with them?
That is listed. It's not listed per se separately, but I did allow the Hudson River community a 10-minute presentation, which will include questions and answers. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I just, they can speak soon. I want to highlight a few things. Let's Green NYC, just a really big milestone for us. Let's Green NYC is our collective effort to really count all of the volunteer people who come out to parks and also the hours that they contribute as volunteers. We are over the 1 million milestone, and it's a big celebration for us at Parks. Related to this, all friends groups can be listed and report their volunteer numbers, so you can reach out to me and also learn more about Parks opportunities to volunteer. And also always check NYC Parks, our website, nyc.gov/parks, where also our existing volunteer events are listed there. And Carlos just forgot to share a few volunteer events coming up. This Saturday, November 15th, for anyone who is around the Fort Tryon Park area, we do have a dog run cleanup happening. 12 to 3. And also we have bulb planting happening at Jacob Javits on November 23rd, 10 a.m. to 1. There's one other one I'm forgetting about, which I'll double check and I can share it in the chat. Also a reminder that all of our recreation centers, as we head into colder weather and people aren't as likely to go outside, just a reminder that all of our recreation centers are free for people 24 and under. It's a really great resource that a lot of folks don't take advantage of. So just sharing that, and also senior discounts are available for the year as well. We have a lot of stuff there: wellness programs, sports, fitness, media labs. So definitely please remember that. Also want to share that Inwood Nature Center, we have Community Wednesdays happening there. And if anybody is interested in thinking about the space and using it for community meetings, it's definitely Friends of Inwood Hill have priority, but CB12, you would have priority. So please reach out to me and I can connect you with Bonnie McGuire, the ranger director who runs that center. I want to raise an alert level for everybody. We are seeing more encampments. Please let us know when you see any encampments in the parks in Northern Manhattan. First and foremost, we want to help people who are unhoused find resources. And second of all, we are seeing fires already, and it's quite concerning. So please definitely alert us. You can report to 311 through your phone, through your computer by calling, or digital. You can also email me, and I'll give my email again at the end. A sad piece of news, a beautiful icon for our community, the Peter J. Sharp Boathouse there at Sherman Creek Park, beautiful, beloved icon on the Harlem River. Row New York is removing that this weekend. So just in case you want to go by and say goodbye, it will be gone as of this weekend. But Row New York is working on bringing back a new Row New York Boathouse. They're continuing to raise money for that. So check out their website if you want to learn more about that. Also, a little heads up that Turkey Trot, we will have it at Inwood Hill Park. I will be there Thanksgiving morning. If you want to do a walk or run with us, it should be a lot of fun. We have, I think, about over 200 people. Inwood Farm helped sponsor this to raise funds for the food pantry. If you join us, you could eat more later in the day. Couple of capital projects to hit you guys up with. Inwood Hill Park, Beckman Fields, the soccer field, we are finished there in terms of the contractor's work. Sod was replaced as we needed to have the contractor improve that. It's been fenced off. It's going to be closed throughout the winter. So hopefully when we reopen it in spring, it's going to be glorious. Ball fields 1, 2, and 4, about 65% complete. If you guys have noticed at the Isham entrance, yeah, exactly. The bleachers look so beautiful. The Art Deco aspect of them are really, really highlighted. In Inwood Ballfield 6 on the peninsula, we're working on the design phase for lighting. And the Isham entrance, big thank you to Friends of Inwood Hill, Shore Walkers, Inwood Little League. We're working with them in concert to, Shore Walkers raised $15,000 for the park, which is, again, a huge gift to us. We're working on Isham Park, Isham entrance improvements for Inwood Hill Park. You may have seen that the park house got power washed, repainted. We're working to fix the windows. We're working to fix the silver roof and make that really a highlight. We're working with friends for plantings. So just keep an eye on that. We want to unveil a beautiful, brand new Isham entrance as we also unveil the ball fields in the spring. Fort Tryon, Billings Lawn will continue to be closed through the winter. The grass came back after we repaired the lawn thanks to a Con Edison grant that the Conservancy secured. And we also have to fix an old terracotta pipe there. The Pine Lawn is next. The Conservancy got another $50,000 grant. So we will be working on the Pine Lawn through the spring, which is the lawn below the Billings Lawn. Cloisters Lawn, I know last month somebody asked about this, I think maybe on the council, actually on the committee. We have good news, both the Alpine Garden Wall at Fort Tryon and the Cloisters Lawn Wall, which is over the highway ramp entrance and exit, March. We will be starting work on those in March to repair, and hopefully by the end of May that work should be done to repair those walls. The Sir William Dog Run, we have the volunteer event this Saturday that I mentioned, but also just a huge thanks to Councilwoman Carmen De La Rosa, who's just reelected. We received $1.3 million in funding for that dog run. and are working with Cecilia and the new dog run leaders to help plan out how we can appropriate that, allot that money. Cascadia Playground. This has been really exciting because our restrooms are 98% complete, so they should be open in December. We're hoping by early. And we also are working with a local group of people around Cascadia Playground to reactivate, bring more programming, hear people's feedback, and understand, you know, how families, in particular seniors, et cetera, and local community members want to use the playground. And also thank you to On Point, who helps us with drug addicted individuals. They're across the street and they're helping us work to give those individuals the resources they need and help make sure that the bathrooms are safe and open to everybody. Fort Washington Park, our Capital Greenway study finished. Sinkhole repairs are held up with the recent storms. We're very excited about that. We will also share on our website, and I'm waiting to hear from our Capital Division about when that can be loaded onto the website, but we'll share some of the findings from the study, community input study. Lily Brown Playground, we're halfway there. So the Lily Brown Playground should be finished in March. We're working very consistently. Isham Inwood, we have retaining wall reconstruction happening. Big thanks to the Isham Park Alliance. They have renamed themselves IPA. And if you want to join the Isham Park volunteers, now called the Isham Park Alliance, please let me know and I can connect you. 186th Street Basketball Court, we are 10% complete. We're coming across a few issues related to the buildings adjacent, but so far moving forward pretty well. Riverside, the 161st Street retaining wall reconstruction after the car crash, that wall has been rebuilt. So we should be complete in December. J. Hood Wright, our ramp at Pinehurst Avenue. This week, they're mobilizing the contractor to set up for the work. That will be closed for 1 year. So we'll have our first on-site pre-meeting with them next week. McKenna Square, last item, at DOT's request, because of all the parking that happens around McKenna Square, the plaza, the DOT plaza that's adjacent to it. We are working with them to expand the scope of this project to include the pedestrian enhancements and safety measures related to kind of how McKenna Square has become a parking lot. So we'll begin the community input process around that in spring. Thank you, Chair. That is it for me.
Wow, with 4 minutes to go, 4 seconds. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. Any questions for Parks? Yes, Daryl.
Yeah, I had a question. Hey, Jenna.
Hi, Daryl.
I had a question not related to your report, but just going back to something we talked about almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Do you have the dates for the mulch fests or whatever you call them?
Yes, sir. Yes, great. We just talked about it today, as a matter of fact. Mulch Fest will begin December 26th. So it always starts the day after Christmas. And so Inwood Hill will continue to be a drop-off site for trees. I am waiting to hear, Daryl, if J. Hood Wright will also continue to be a drop-off site. The only mulching happens January 11th and 12th at Inwood Hill Park. And again, Friends of Inwood Hill hosted a fantastic mulch event last year. We hope that they will do that again right there at the Isham entrance.
Yeah, I think one of our hopes that we talked about last year was that maybe we could have flyers at where they sell the Christmas trees. Starting
Great
soon,
idea.
obviously.
Yep.
So people have it right away and they know where to take their tree and when and all that stuff.
Thank you for that reminder. So Mulch Fest is done out of our marketing unit and forestry unit. Marketing does those flyers. So thank you, Daryl. I'll reach out to them and see, if we can have that in time. I think most of the tree vendors set up after Thanksgiving. Is that right? From my recall?
Usually that weekend is the big weekend and then through the week before.
So I'll see if we'll have the signage by then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jody.
Hey Jana, how are you?
Hi, Jody.
So I'm real excited about Lily Brown, and I'm excited about the retaining wall at 161st. Chris last month did mention that you guys were waiting for the toppers for the wall. Did those come in?
I will ask. I do not know. And the other thing I wanted to ask about too, Jody, you remind me, is the 160th staircase, which is a DOT project, but obviously is, in connection with us. So I'll ask about that as well.
Fantastic. And then just the other one, just to remind you, because I don't know that you'll have an answer for it, is where we are with Rocky Run.
Yes, I actually hope that we can have a meeting soon about that. And I'm also really heartened, and we'll talk with you separately as a Lily Brown member, Jody, because there has been a group, we're really excited. There's been a group that has mobilized who are interested to become Lily Brown Friends of Volunteer Groups.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
thank
very
you, Jana.
nice.
Mhm.
Ayton, did you have a question for Parks?
I do not.
Okay, what about you, Alexis?
No,
I didn't
Janet,
want to interrupt you.
no, Janet, you just know, what you gotta send me, honey.
I don't know.
Alexis,
Yeah.
are you talking to me?
Yeah, you know what to send me, darling.
I already did, darling.
You did, I love you.
Very nice. Also, of course, this has very little to do with parks, but it is a park. But I just don't want, we have been, members of, myself included, of the committee, we have been trying to have a conversation with the Port Authority, with nonprofits to really try and get Dolphin Park open. So I just wanted to say that also as a matter of public record, but as we all discussed in the last meeting, it's murky because Dolphin Park does not fall under the purview of parks. It belongs to Port Authority, but Port Authority, for whatever reason, gives the park to a nonprofit to manage. So at the present time, I'm in conversation with several nonprofits, with our elected, I'm thinking in Spanish, with our elected officials, my mistake, pardon me, to see if we can make it a goal to maybe have it open by 26 or 27, but I don't want to make those types of promises. I do want to acknowledge that the conversation has started ever since the article in the New York Times was published. And
Which was
also,
amazing.
Jenna, you've also been very supportive in trying to mediate those conversations.
You know what, Luana, real quickly,
Yes,
thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you very much for all you have done as well. And I just want to state for the record that, I live personally a block away, and I've heard recently that Breakaway Cafe is interested to maybe help open and close the playground. So I'm happy to talk more and be a part of that ongoing coalition, as an individual, but also if parks, if we can offer any advice or thoughts along the way, because it's very exciting. To Alexis, again, for the record, I sent you our events that Carlos and I put together, but I'll send you, these meeting notes later
That's
after the
Yeah, that's
meeting.
Did Marty send you an update for, because I didn't call on Noma because he's not here,
Yeah,
but.
no, he didn't send me
He didn't?
anything.
Okay, Daryl?
Just regarding George Washington Bridge Park, not dolphin park. I don't see a dolphin. There's elephants.
There is a dolphin.
Okay.
There is a
You know-
sprinkler in the middle.
Actually, but Daryl, real quickly, there are two Port Authority parks. The Dolphin Park is, well, you're right, it is called the George Washington, but everybody here calls it Dolphin Park. But I just wanted to say that because also on Cabrini, 2 blocks away, across the George Washington Bridge off ramp is another George Washington Park that is Port Authority. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering, are there any definitive thoughts on usages for that? Is it going to be a playground again, a regular park, or a dog run, or
We don't know.
that's all? Okay.
yeah, I will share. In the past, it was used mostly as a playground. There's some really cute equipment in there for kids and families. Fort Washington Green, which is the volunteer group that used to garden at Fort Washington Collegiate Church, which is now operating out of Mother Cabrini Shrine. They have expressed interest in maybe doing some of the hort work that might be needed there. So it could end up being a nice partnership of maybe Fort Washington Green is taking care of the hort elements, and Breakaway Cafe possibly is someone who might volunteer to open and close it since they're across the street.
Okay. But everything is now in the conversation stage, so I don't think that any promises are being delivered at the present moment. That's fair to say.
Right, yep.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat for parks, so we're gonna move it along and now go back to the order of the agenda. There's a presentation Morris Jamel mentioned. Catherine, are you ready for that presentation? Oh, I'm sorry, no. It's Miss
It's both of
Monopoly.
us. Yeah.
Both of you. Well, Catherine, yes. Sorry about that. All right, if you're ready, I will give you your 10 minutes and go right ahead.
Sure. I was just going to introduce Danielle as the manager of the restoration project. So she is really in charge of everything that's going to be happening. And the biggest news that I wanted to announce is that today we can say that this is registered with the city, the project. And that means a lot. That means things are happening. And so we are very excited to share.
So are we. So are we.
So, and Danielle has a really cool presentation that shows exactly what is going to happen in the restoration.
Yes, go ahead, Alexis.
Danielle, are you from Historic House Trust or?
Yes.
Thank you. Fantastic. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I think as a panelist, you can share your screen.
Okay. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes.
Now, yep.
Yep. Okay, great. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick run through of the scope of work at the Morris Jamel Mansion as we prepare to go into construction in the next few coming weeks. So the Historic House Trust will be the project manager. It was designed by Page Ayers Cowley Architects, and our contractor is Sienia. So we'll go on to the impact in the park. So the red line shown here is the construction fence, and the two areas highlighted green are the contractor staging areas where they can store any field office, storage for materials or debris. And I also wanted to show the construction fence within the boundaries of the park to show its impact on the paths. So the park will remain open to the public, and the only path impacted by the construction fence is the easternmost path on the east side of the house. All other paths will remain open to the public. There will be tree protection around the trees closest to the fence, as well as right outside the entrance gates. And a few trees in the park will also be pruned ahead of construction. So shoring, as everyone has probably seen, we had some shoring on the southeastern-most portion of the south porch. Additional shoring was designed for the rest of the porch to support the remaining columns. And that was actually installed this past week and will remain on site throughout construction until the 4 columns are replaced. Roof replacement. The house will have a full replacement of its cedar shingle roofing, as well as the membrane roofing that is within the boundaries of the balustrades. All new flashing. There will be a new roof access hatch, and roof hooks will also be installed throughout the roof, which will allow us to better maintain and clean the roof once it's been completed. So the balustrades. So these balustrades have come off the roof in recent years. They will be fabricated new wood balustrade systems to match the historic record. So this is the design that will be seen on the main house and the octagon roof. And then this is the balustrade that will be installed on the hyphen roofs. So the exterior work. So in addition to the entire house being restored and repainted, there are areas that will have wood replacement. So the next few slides will show that. Any areas highlighted in blue will be replaced. So we have the new balustrade systems. We have the 4 new columns at the south porch. We have reconstructed dormers, as well as replacements for the molding at the portico, and new decking for the balcony and porch. As we go on to the east side of the house, we have the new balustrade systems, new lattice on the easternmost side of the south porch, new water table, the floating door that is the existing restroom on the first floor will be replaced. Some siding will be replaced. We can see that highlighted on the octagon side. New gutters and leaders as we wrap around to the north side of the house. So this is a cut through, so we can see better exactly how much of the siding will be replaced. So those are the areas highlighted a bit further below. And then, of course, the new balustrade and reconstructed dormers. We stretch around to the west side of the house. New siding, new water table, new column, and newly fabricated balustrade and reconstructed dormer. So the brownstone around the foundation of the house, as well as at the front porch, will be repointed. And cracks also in these areas highlighted here in yellow will be repaired using a micro injection grout to match the existing parch coating. So the windows, so as we go through, all of the windows highlighted blue will be restored. We'll see some highlighted in red, those will be replaced. So at the south facade stretching through to the basement, those will all be restored. On the east side of the house, all restored with the exception of the dormer, which is being completely reconstructed. The north side of the house, restored except for 2 of the basement level windows, which will be replaced. And the west side, which is all restored with the exception of the dormer. So the window frames and sills are similar. There are areas that will be restored and those that will be replaced. The areas highlighted in red in the next few slides are the sills that will be replaced during construction. So here we have the south side of the house, east side a little bit more, the north side of the house largely restored, and the west side a sort of mix. So now we'll go to interior work. So in the basement, we'll be installing an injection grout in the cellar level of the octagon wing. This is just to help some water infiltration that we're seeing specifically in that area. We will be terminating the exterior site lighting system, which will be addressed in a later phase of the restoration project. And the brick in the fireplace will be cleaned and repointed, and the rubble masonry at the porch will be repointed. So the first floor, there's no work being completed on the interior at the first floor. It's largely outside of the house. So we have the west entrance, which will be completely reconstructed, and new decking at the south porch. So the interior for the second floor, similar to the first floor, no interior work. The only work happening at this level is the new balcony decking and replacing the roofs at the hyphen. The third floor, we will be seeing some work on the third floor. So we have plaster ceilings that will be reconstructed. Those are highlighted in blue. And there is an exhaust fan in a window that is highlighted in red, which will be removed, and a new window will be installed. And this is our timeline right now. So we're entering construction in the next few weeks, and it is a 2-year contract. So we anticipate being finished by fall 2027. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Catherine, it seems like you wanted to add something. You still have time before we get
I was
into
going to add,
questions.
so this is phase 1. There is phase 2 that will follow phase 1 that is just as detailed and intricate in many ways. And so this is not all the work that will be done, but it is the major part of the exterior work. So we are going to have to close the mansion to the public from December 1st through roughly May. We hope we will be back open in May for field trips before the end of the school year. We are also going to open on the weekends for walking tours. We're doing a new walking tour called Uncovering Uptown History that will start at the mansion and end at Trinity Cemetery. Those will happen at 1:30 and 3 o'clock every day. I'm sorry, 11:30 and 1:30. And we are also going to have some other stuff happening in the park, like, if family days, depending upon weather. But we will be trying to maintain a level of programming on the weekends while the mansion is closed to the public. And our school programs are going outreach. So we're going out to classrooms for any schools interested. So that's from December 1st to hopefully around May.
All right, that's when the mansion will be closed.
Correct. And that's
For
just
this
because of
phase.
the roof is being replaced and we're not allowed to be in the building while that work is being done.
Thank you. Questions, Daryl?
Yeah, maybe I missed it. For this phase, is there the ADA access to the first floor? Is that happening in this phase?
That is in the second phase.
Yeah, phase 2.
Which that's not starting until the fall or winter 2027, 28.
We are looking at issues of accessibility, temporary measures that might happen before then because it's frustratingly long to wait.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions with regards to the mansion? Well, very congratulations. On getting this moving. So, and thank you also for providing a contingency plan to keep sort of like the mansion programming going while the mansion is closed. So,
yes.
Fantastic. So there are no questions online. So we're gonna move it along of a presentation by the Hudson River Community Sailing. Thank you so much for waiting.
I don't know if I'm a co-host, Luana. It's not giving me a share screen.
You know what? Okay, this is what happened. I think you are a duplicate, so I will do that right now. I'm gonna promote you. Because you're joining from your laptop, right?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, let me just see.
So yeah, I haven't done this here before.
Let's see.
Join as panelists. There we go.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. Give me 1 second. And we'll see if this works here. Excellent. Okay, and I have I'm muted on my computer, so it doesn't cause an echo, but if those online can hear me, hopefully
I think so.
Great. Okay.
And
Excellent.
if you wanna sit closer to the owl, then, yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. And I wasn't aware that Parks and Marine was presenting today, so there may be some stuff in here that's better answered by them. So I'll keep it under the limit and we can take any questions. My name is Maeve Gately. I'm the Senior Director of Development and Communications at Hudson River Community Sailing. And I want to shout out a bunch of our members, volunteers, and students who came to present and also, not to present, to support and to ask any questions.
You got an applause online.
So, yay. Okay.
Yep, you're getting a lot of those.
So I was going to show a video, but I think it's going to be hard with the dual screen. So I will share it with the community board. It's a piece about our adaptive program that was shared this summer. And I'll share it with you all, but we'll jump in. So we'll read everything on the slides here, and I tend to speak quickly, so happy to repeat anything. But just as a reminder, we are a nonprofit. We were founded in 2008, and we've been at Dykeman Marina since 2016. Our other locations down at Pier 66 in Chelsea. We have a dual mission. We run youth development programming for free, teaching math, science, and leadership to public, middle, and high school students. In Inwood, we serve students in Inwood, Harlem, and Washington Heights and the Bronx. And we have 150 students, or we have 100 students in Inwood, and that program continues to grow. We also run an adaptive and veterans program where we get people with a range of disabilities, from spinal cord injuries to developmental disabilities to blindness and visual impairment, out on the water and host some events associated with that. That's our newest program and area of growth. We host community days, so we have monthly free sales. This year we served over 300 people, and want to thank Parks and the Community Board for helping us promote those free Get Out on the Water days. We have a membership program with over 500 members, many of whom volunteer in our after-school and adaptive program. We run a summer camp. We have public lessons for hundreds of participants on a half-day to weekend-long basis. And we have large group events where we bring people up from across the city for regattas and day-long events and trips, and hope that we can bring some local economic development to the neighborhood, to restaurants and businesses, introducing people to the area. So again, just to give you some history, we've been at Dyckman since 2016. Back then it was under the La Marina concession. When Parks took that back over, we got a 5-year permit through an RFP as a concession with Parks. We launched our adaptive program in 2021. We learned about the Dyckman Marina reconstruction in 2022, have been working with Parks and our community to try to evaluate alternate sites that I'll talk about in a second. The closure was delayed a year last year, so this has been the final season before the planned closure. And I'm not gonna go into this because all the experts are here, but this is the planned reconstruction. So as I mentioned, Parks has shared with us potential alternative sites. Unfortunately, none of them meet our operational parameters for youth and adaptive. I'm happy to get into this with questions, but some of it has to do with the depths of the boats or the accessible access or safety issues. One of the things we try to do is break down barriers and introduce people to the waterfront, and I'm sure everybody would agree there are not enough access points, especially not ones that can meet community needs. So the current status, and again, happy to be corrected on any of this, if there's more up-to-date info, but according to Parks, the capital project tracker says their permits have not been issued and procurement hasn't begun. I believe that's about to start, but our understanding is it takes at least 9 to 12 months. So we have a very simple request for Parks and for the Community Board tonight, which is to help us keep the marina open in 2026 until the construction begins, whether that is late summer or fall. Having even those extra months will make a huge difference in terms of allowing students and participants with disabilities who have no other access to the water, and thousands of neighborhood residents to get on the water. Especially, we work with a lot of teenagers, and the marina is a really safe, positive place to hang out and contribute and grow. Many of them, like Annalise, intern with us and drive the launch and help us maintain the boats. And the more we can minimize the disruption, the better it will be in terms of keeping continuity for those students and their development. So our requests were two. I think one is happening since Parks is presenting tonight, which is awesome. We were just going to request an updated plan and timeline at the next meeting, but if it's tonight, that's great. And we were going to request the Community Board pass a resolution asking to keep the marina open next season until whenever that construction does start. We've had over 400 community members send in messages of support via dyckmanmarina.org, which is this website we set up to keep people informed. Here are some quotes. I won't read them, but we can send a long list of quotes to the Community Board if you all want, and have people here in person if they want to speak. Wow, okay. I did speak quickly, so happy to answer questions.
There's still 5 more minutes.
Clarify anything
So
there.
the role of a community board is to facilitate conversations between the community elected officials and city agencies, and that's the purpose of tonight's request. I did invite Chris Amy. I'm so sorry, Chris, to answer questions. I think your ask is reasonable, provided that it is possible to do. So rather than having a contentious conversation, which sometimes happens at the parks, we in the committee would like for this to be productive and hopefully find, like I said, a positive outcome to all of this. Personally, I don't know much about sailing or engineering or projects, but I think that the request is very reasonable. But I also want to give the opportunity to Parks to answer questions, clarify, as well as if the committee has any additional questions. If a resolution was to take place, then I would also would say that it would be good if it's a joint resolution because youth is involved, aging is involved. So I think that's also.
With the other committees, got it.
The other committees, yes.
Thank you.
That said, Christopher, would you like to clarify, revisit the timeline? Jana, now you have the floor. And then as questions come up, then we can start the conversation. But thank you also to Parks for agreeing also to revisit the project, clarify as a matter of public record, and really start a conversation. So yes, go ahead, Parks. Oh, Alexis, sorry.
May I ask, may I impose upon you to please send me those slides? Is that
Yes,
okay?
absolutely. I totally can. Yes, and I'll send you the video.
No, I don't need the video, just the.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's Krista May, and I think Nate Grove is here.
May, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
So
No,
I
you-
butchered it regardless.
job.
May. Okay.
You,
thank
you
thank
did both,
Chris.
Luana. So
I tried.
but
Look, I tried. I'm bilingual and English is not my first language. So I'm going to
you-
pull that
you-
card.
You offered
and
it as
ride
an
that
option,
pony until
and you
it
were
dies.
right. Yes. So Nate, I don't know if you want to kick off.
Oh, then you can see.
I'll probably. It's actually Amy. So.
Oh no!
Just I'll
I do it wrong all the
Did I say it
time.
correctly? Did I
Look at
say
that.
I thought it was Amy. I was gonna shoot
We've
her.
lobbied for him to change the spelling to make it easier for everyone he encounters, but he has yet
No,
to
no, no,
comply
no.
with
I
that
do,
request.
I do it all the time.
English is
That
not a
I'll
real
never-
language. I
I'll
stand
never
by
forget.
that.
I took my video off. I can't see myself. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Is
We
it dark?
cannot
Okay.
see you.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay, well, you can hear me, so that's good.
Well, there's
yeah,
somebody
no, thank-
also signed in with your name who's not you. I see Chris Amy and Nate Grove.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, Chris
Well,
Amy and Nate Grove. Yeah.
For what it's worth, Chris, yeah, thank you. I'll be very brief. Yeah, it's been a real, I mean, I have to be brief. To be honest, no one's lived that site more than I have over the last 2+ decades, kicking out multiple private operators and then sharpening our pencils and getting the funding to actually turn it into a public marina. It's been one of my most passionate efforts. I literally, had to remove so much. I don't want to even get into details from previous private misuse of the site. 3 operators during my tenure that we've kicked out. So yeah, so it's nice to be able to partner with groups like Hudson River Community Sailing, really make it a public asset, not just a resource to, bring people. It's a lovely restaurant, of course. We're so supportive of that, but nice to actually make it a public marina. It's the only place in all of Manhattan where you can launch a vessel. It's the only ramp that Robert Moses didn't cut off with his roadways because you can get under the Henry Hudson up there. So, but yeah, I'll hand it over to Chris. He can get into more of the details. We're still on the schedule we had anticipated, and I'll let him clarify on that right now, and then handle any questions that come up. Thank you.
Can you all hear me?
Yes. loud and
Okay,
clear.
all right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, John. Thanks to the community board and to HRCS for the presentation. So just to clarify, you breezed through that presentation there pretty quickly. I didn't come with a presentation to share. It really just came for Q&A here, but I can just speak briefly to the project. It does involve the complete removal and reconstruction of the marina docks, which involves the construction of a new pier and a new dock system. And as Nate referenced, it's been going through the permitting process, and we do anticipate start of construction this summer. And so that remains the timeline that we had. And if there's any other questions about the general scope of the project or how it was envisioned and how it was funded and so forth, we can speak to that. But the current status with the docks relative to the presentation that you just saw is that the docks are to be removed this winter, as they always are, when the docks are pulled out of the water to protect them from ice flow and so forth, so they're not damaged, they don't become loose and become a hazard and float down river. or upriver, depending on the flow of the tides at the time. And then so that would preclude the docks being in place this summer, which is what was presented here tonight. And that remains the plan at this point. We have, unfortunately, there is a real lack of access, as was noted, of the water depths required for the types of vessels that HRCS operates, for the sailing vessels that they use, and others as well. And we've looked at alternate sites. We've looked downriver at A Dock. We've looked at other locations in northern Manhattan. Of course, there's a real lack. And we've looked out elsewhere with HRCS. We've looked at sites in I believe the Bronx and in Queens, and a lot of site visits to see if we could sharpen our pencils and find something that would work as a temporary berth for them, which is not, it's not something that we're successful in identifying, something that would work for their need. If there's any ideas out there, please, we're still open to that. And there's still some things that are being, that are being looked at. I think West Harlem Piers down in around 150th Street, I think, something like that is apparently a potential. But it remains that in order to accommodate the vessels during construction, there just isn't an opportunity to do that without building some new platform, some new construction, a new dock that would be temporary, very difficult to permit, and potentially not, certainly not within the budget that was scoped for this project. So operationally, in regards to the possibility of extending the availability of docks because of the construction occurring this summer, it was determined by Parks that we wouldn't be putting the docks back in place. That would be moving right into construction and seeking to smooth that transition. And maybe I can pass it to Nate if you have any other thoughts about the request that was made. And that's something that we've heard from HRCS, and we've received that as well. I believe that there's a formal request of that nature that the agency is considering at the moment. And there will be, I'm sure, a formal response pending in regard to the request, depending on the timing of this construction, whether that's feasible or not.
Yeah, thanks. Sure. Yeah. So we have heard the request, as Chris said. I think Commissioner Rodriguez Rosa received a direct letter. We've received several comments. We've received quite a number of comments. So yeah, look, we've done everything we can to try and figure out solutions. Chris mentioned the 6 different sites. I noticed, Maeve, you didn't have 125th Street on your slide. That was another site that we'd brought up to you. So now we are hearing from EDC. You might be considering it. So it was nice to hear that from EDC. And I just, more for context, I want to thank the committee. I guess I just realized it's been 3 years. I think it was November 2022. Actually, I'm sure it was when we appeared before you. So it's amazing how much the years go by as we try and get these through the gauntlet. We deal with 13 different permitting entities when we build things over the water. It's quite amazing that anything gets through, but we're there. You said we're not in procurement. We've got DEC is the final permit we need, and HRCS sent a few requests to them. That's the only comments they got. We're answering them now, but that has. You're right. We were supposed to be in procurement right now, but that has pushed it out 3 weeks for procurement to start. So we've answered those questions. We're going to send those to DEC now, and we expect procurement to happen and for construction to happen before the moratorium hits next year. So that lands us in the July-August timeframe as we anticipate. And I will say that, as Chris noted, the docks do have to come out. Otherwise, they'll get destroyed. We've seen that in the past. Up at Dykeman, there's no wave ice protection for those ice flows. And that's a cost item to get them out. If we're going to bring them back for maybe a month or two, we're considering it. It is going to be a cost item. It wasn't part of the budget for this year. And I also have concerns if you're making commitments to user groups. Again, that's in your bailiwick, HRCS. but how would that work if you're making commitments to groups? If you're going to say, well, we're not sure, we're going to do it on a case by case basis, but we got to first see what's feasible in terms of the docks or not. I will note as well, the site's going to remain open. We've taken pains to phase the work such that the Quonset hut will still be available. We've attracted myriad users. I could tick off probably 10 of them right now. We just did the first safe boating class today ever at the site with U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. We've got partnerships with Billion Oyster Project, City Parks Foundation does a coastal classroom. Spring was such a success. They've now extended it to now. They're doing a fall session that will go into the winter. We work with Fresh Youth Initiatives, Hudson River Sloop Clearwater. Of course, they wouldn't be able to come in with the docks gone. But Rocking the Boat, Urban Assembly, New York Harbor School, we do a Dockmaster apprenticeship program we launched there, Village Community Boathouse. So we're going to still program the site. There's still going to be a lot of activity. Obviously, there's something missing when you don't have docks, but we really love that space. We've really activated it. Like I said, I threw out all the misuses in the past, and we've really made that a public asset. We've got public kayak storage. We've got that classroom space, and we're going to be doing that throughout this project as well.
So just a clarifying question. So say you do go to procurement next month, would it not take 9 to 12 months? You think it could be faster and you could start in the summer?
Yes.
And that would be something you all would know would you know it fairly soon, or would that take a few? I'm just trying to get a sense of, because we were always told it was a year, which is partly why I did this math basically.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris, if you want to add anything to it. We try and be conservative in our estimates, but we've cleared everything we need to, save for the comments that you submitted to DEC. So we're responding to those now, and we expect that in 3 weeks we'll be able to flip that switch. The design is done. It's the DEC permit that we now need for it to go out to bid.
So as a point of clarification, also for my own learning, you're saying that the docks are gonna come out in the winter and they're not gonna be put back in, which means that boats cannot dock, right? Is that what it is? Okay.
Correct.
All right, I have a question online. This is Harry Brigham. If project dates slide for any reason into next winter, will Parks return the docks and HRCS permit it for 2026 summer of operation?
Yeah, again, that is what we're talking about tonight. I could just try and reframe it, I suppose. I don't want to speak for revenue either. The license agreement for HRCS expires at the end of April of next year. So they've gotten their full license term. So you're also asking about a mechanism by which revenue will extend or do a mini license or whatever tools they have. Not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't want to speak for that process. I can speak on an operations level, having managed the site over the years, that again, the docks were never planning to come back. We're going to be replacing with far more robust infrastructure, concrete docks to replace these timber docks, with the idea we can leave them in year round as well. Also, the fishing pier coming within the marina, so we can activate that, manage it, also leverage that for the eco dock that everyone's been waiting on for 15 years now, and activate that whole site with the hope that everything can stay in the water, with the expectation that everything can stay in the water over the winter. So the docks were never planned to come back. That was never budgeted as part of the operation plan for this year. We're talking internally now. I have to remove these this month, and they were going to go to salvage. We're talking about it now. I can't say exactly how that mechanism comes into play. I suppose it could be done, that they're brought back for a partial season.
I mean, obviously a different situation, and I know it's been a headache for Nate and Chris as well, but one of our concerns going into it was we don't want it to get delayed before the construction starts, like 79th Street that was closed 4 years ago and construction has still not begun. So, once it closes, we believe and hope it will be that 18 months you all have been talking about, but our fear is there'll be a delay before it closes.
It's a hard comparison to make. Boat Basin was closed.
Obviously a different situation. Yeah.
Boat Basin was closed due to it wasn't safe. I triaged that site beyond the pale of how long someone would keep something open. I'd been told to close it down long before. I took a lot of risk there. It became we got an inspection that said there's no way you can keep this open. So that's a really apples to oranges comparison. We did not say when we closed it down, this is going into construction it's going out for bid. We knew there was a lot of design ahead, a lot of permitting and design.
Yeah, that was my note as well, Nate. That is the design here is done, and right, and the procurement's moving on schedule. Whereas at Boat Basin, there were a lot of lingering questions about that schedule at that time when we had to close it down, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Nate mentioned the Harlem 125th. We did assess that back when it seemed like at the time there was no movement from EDC. I did get an email for them this week, so it would be great. Our understanding is still that that's a long-term thing because the city would have to, I don't think that would bail us out next year, but we would love to be wrong there. So we appreciate that connection, and I'll keep everybody posted.
Thank you.
I'll throw it out there, although this may blow our minds a little in terms of the TikTok of how it works. But as we've offered throughout the last several years of working with HRCS, if there are any resources we can bring to bear, materials, docks, gangways, any of this stuff, and I may be able to mobilize some of that for you, but it seems like none of these sites have worked for you. But if 125th Street is a potential, as I said to EDC when I got informed about your interest in it, we can make some of this stuff available, but I need to know soon, what we're doing here. So
that would be great. Thank you. We
Fantastic.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm hearing progress, and that I love that. I guess that for my own understanding, the fear is that the marina closes and then there's no activity construction for like a year or two, and that would have been an opportunity for community sailing to continue their program. Is that a characterization of it?
Or
Okay.
even it doesn't start till next September, and
Right.
even though it would still be 4 months, we would
Okay.
take 4 months. So,
But now Parks is saying that no, it's happening. And yes, go ahead, Daryl.
To that point, I mean, if it does happen, hopefully it doesn't, but who do we hold accountable?
That's a good question.
well, I would also say, if I can just say quickly, I think a resolution would, we're simply asking to be kept open until it starts. So if it starts in April, it wouldn't apply. If it starts in September, then we would operate through August. And it sounds like that's what Parks is considering as well, but.
Okay. The question is, if we write it, so the resolution is basically not to delay construction,
No.
right? Because construction is happening.
Yes.
And that was
we
the purpose
understand-
of the
We asked for
clarification.
staging, we understand there is no money, we're accepting it's happening. We would love for it to happen quickly and come back. We appreciate, we have, I think at the end of the day, the same goals. But yeah, if it is empty next year or the docks are gone and construction doesn't start, I'm sure we and Parks would also love to see more happening there in that period, so.
So this is, it's just from my notes.
Go ahead, yeah.
If I may. So your biggest concern is you don't want construction delay, right?
We would just like to be able to operate until the construction begins, because we know we will have at least a season, perhaps two. I haven't done the math with the moratorium, I'm sure Chris and Nate have and can speak to it. But you can't do construction in the water at certain times because of endangered fish. We would love to not lose a third season, if they say, hey, it doesn't happen till next September. So, yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Daryl.
No, I asked my question. It hasn't
Oh,
been
you did,
answered
I'm
yet.
sorry, I heard, it hasn't been answered, go ahead.
No.
Oh,
No, I know who the guy from Parks is. I don't know his name, sorry. Nate?
Nate, yeah.
Who do we hold accountable if this happens? It's my question.
Well, the community.
And if it gets delayed, you're saying?
Yeah, if it gets delayed.
Well, at least to be kept updated consistently on
Well,
whether that's
here's the thing though, let's do another example. For the board passed a resolution to bring down the scaffolds that were enveloping Columbia University. The scaffolds never came down. So the board is not an authority, the board is a body that brokers conversations and serves as an advisor to elected officials and to city agencies.
But
I know the purpose of the board.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, you know, so like, do we talk to Parks? Is it Nate? Are we gonna, you know, ask you to come in and explain? Is it like, I'm just trying to figure this out for the sake of the community.
Nate, Chris, Jenna?
Basically, who's our point person?
Yeah.
Like, I guess the question is, who would be the point person where we can communicate a concern should construction it be delayed? Did I phrase that correctly?
Maybe I'll jump in here just to say that, again, just in terms of the structure of this. So Northern Manhattan Parks, the Dyckman Marina is within my portfolio. But
Right.
Nate and Chris manage the marina for us, and our concessions unit, as Nate referenced, manages the revenue agreements for concessions that are in the marina, right? So you have a lot of entities here, plus our partners like Hudson River Community Sale. Hi, Maeve. So I think to your question, Daryl, and to the committee, and Nate, please, you know, chime in if you disagree, but I can certainly, Chris, as we report to you on our monthly meetings, we definitely can have this as part of our capital updates. And if Nate or Chris want to personally, you know, answer some questions and give updates as this progresses, I think that would be great if they're available.
Is that good?
Yep.
And also, if we draft a resolution is a recommendation that reflects a community need. Okay, yes, just to clarify also how all of this machinery works, because some people, and also for a matter of public record. Yes?
I was just wondering if Parks could give any more detail about what the timeline of procurement is. If they expect it to be less than 9 or 12 months, could they be a little more detailed about what that's turnaround?
What is your name, dear? I need to
Tessa Carter.
Tessa Carter?
Did you hear the question, Nate, Jenna, Christopher?
Can you just repeat that here?
Yeah, I heard the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Okay,
Yes.
okay. So I think the question was about the specifics of the procurement timeline. So right now we are at a stage where we are waiting on permits so that we can progress the current like more or less to the bidding. So we need to want to get that bid out in the streets to contractors. And the specifics, there's a lot of internal processes that I'm not like prepared to like show a table of all the different processes that go on in the city and then the reviews that go into this. But we've looked at that. It is something that we anticipate wrapping up and being with a contractor onboarded by July. To start that mobilization, to start construction, start doing demolition of the various sites around the waterfront edge, the marina docks, the fishing pier, and to begin work in anticipation of that moratorium. So the exact specifics of the procurement process, I can't, I'm not necessarily going to get into that specifically, but suffice it to say that without the permits in hand, there is procurement work that is initiated. There is, legal reviews and contracting work that goes into prepping for that bid process. So that is ongoing, and it's just that permitting delay, that drag of getting that DEC permit in hand in order to move that ball forward is what we're looking at right now. So we still, like I said, we still feel on track to get to where we are, where we're saying we're going to be in summer and July.
Okay, I have an online,
No anonymous.
yeah, we do not acknowledge anonymous questions, so if the anonymous person wants to come, because we have to, it's public record and people have to state their names and ask their question. So I have a question, we have a question from Jeff, oh my goodness, Agnasask.
Ignasic. It's one of our volunteers. and
Yes,
members.
thank you so
Yeah.
much. Have you notified the VA that Dyckman will no longer be able to host their heroes on the Hudson event?
I don't know if that's a question for us or for Parks.
I
because
believe
we
it's for
both-
Parks.
We both host them.
Yeah,
It's this big veterans event we do.
yeah.
Oh, we support your programming of that. I really, I think it originally came from Inwood Canoe Club. I'll note
Well, we worked with them in Chelsea before.
so we haven't brought them to site. We've supported your hosting them. I should note Inwood Canoe Club has been silent in this conversation. I know Julie's on as a proxy, you know, and given they have fewer constraints in terms of water depths. We are working actively with Inwood Canoe Club at 2 potential sites for them to be able to operate while this work's going on. So we've really done, you know, what we can to try and keep everyone whole. In terms of the veterans, we've never corresponded with them directly.
Yeah, it's like all of our other, we have let everyone know, we've let our school partners, our adaptive partners know the situation, that we are searching for alternate sites. Especially the adaptive program is really tricky because you have to find the right water depth and you have to find accessible. Dykeman is a really special location in terms of the ability to get right up to the water by public transit or by car, to get onto the boats with the Hoyer lift, and to have flat waters. So while we can hopefully, while we plan to serve some of our middle school students in Chelsea on weekends, which is not ideal but doable, it is not safe down there to do adaptive. So, you know, we obviously are working with many different scenarios, the truth is, if Dykeman is closed, there will be some things that we will not be able to do in the same way, unless something like the West Harlem Pier site were to come online next year and have infrastructure, which would be wonderful. That's not been my understanding, but so yes, we have let the VA know there is a good chance it will not be happening there next year. If it is possible and the marina is open before construction, it would be great. But yeah, it is another important constituency.
Can you remind us why Boat Basin, because Boat Basin can be made accessible. We can repurpose these materials for Boat Basin A dock. You didn't find that suitable?
The feedback we got, so one of our board members is the chief accessibility officer for the MTA, and he went on the site visit with us, and the feedback we got is, and Councilmember Brewer said the same thing, just getting down into the park from upland essentially in a wheelchair, especially with the construction happening around there, is very challenging, next to impossible. And I believe Parks put us in touch with I'm going to get it wrong, Riverside Park Conservancy, and they said it would be pretty much unprecedented to let vehicles in there. So while the on-water part is potentially doable, it's all these factors of getting people, you know, from basically up on 79th Street down. So.
Luana, I just want to chime in here and thank Carlos. Carlos dropped into the chat for anybody who's interested. Our capital process, it really shares from our website how we build out things. So there are 3 phases: design, procurement, and construction. So it just might be a good reference for some folks who want to review it. And you can look by borough. You can look by borough and by park and by project and see what's what.
Thank you. We have a question in the audience.
My name is Peter Karp.
Peter Karp?
K-A-R-P.
Thank you.
HRCS. And the question I have has to do with the lack of, or the inability to do a staged construction at this site. Can you explain why staging wasn't possible at the marina?
I can answer that. Yeah. So, when this project was envisioned, staging wasn't proposed and it wasn't funded. So when you look at the existing docks, right, you have a certain water depth that exists out at those docks that allows for the types of vessels and the types of uses that the HRCS in particular is looking for. And there's not another dock apparently in reality in Inwood that can serve that type of need. And so it's a sole access point to the existing docks, and they need to be demolished fully in order to build the new marina pier. It's not something, frankly, that you can phase without providing for an alternative point of access. So to do that, you would need to build a whole new access point to reach water depths somewhere within the vicinity. And so through the process, when we had looked at all these sites, Nate references that we've referenced at ADOC, West Harlem Piers, and different sites around the city, and those were deemed to not work for HRCS's need, we did look to scope a potential alternative that would allow for a phasing, and we identified, the ability close by, but there's a lot of challenges with that. So if we were to do a phased approach, the site that we identified that would be most convenient, I suppose, for the project, and frankly also pose the lowest cost relative to alternatives of finding some, any other site in our parks portfolio nearby. We looked at the fishing pier at Dyckman Street End, and could we phase this project such that the fishing pier is not demolished at first, and that we install some docks off of that fishing pier to accommodate out to the water depths needed. So we had our engineers look at that and propose what that would look like. They came back with a sketch and an estimate for it. And if you remember that this was not originally part of the scope of the project, so it was not something that was estimated for at the outset of the project. We have a total construction budget somewhere around $16 million. That money is all accounted for in the street end work, the marina reconstruction, and Inwood Canoe Club pier repairs. All that money is accounted for. And so when we looked at that potential to do that phased approach, where we build out some additional infrastructure on a temporary basis, the primary concern that comes up is that we don't have funding for it. And I believe that the estimate was about $3 to $4 million for that work. So that money is not at hand and was not able to be fundraised for. And to continue to seek funding for it, of course, would pose further delays for this project. That also, it is notable that to do a new design work for this additional phase would really set the project back. We estimated it would probably be about 2 years for additional permitting and design of this on-water installation for phasing. It also would involve verifying that it's capitally eligible primarily, whether we spend city tax, levy dollars on something that's temporary, that's going to be torn out. It's a question we have to answer, and also whether DEC would permit it as a temporary installation or not is something we have to engage with as well, which we haven't to this point. So, and then of course, with the additional delays that we anticipate, then you have inflationary pressures and things like that would occur with the project, and concerns about the state of certain structures that are part of this project that we really need to get down to repairing, and not wanting to delay on those. And then of course the iterative additional costs of, as things continue to deteriorate, potentially needing to be more intensely designed for repairs. I'm thinking of the Inwood Canoe Club here, where we have a lot of concerns substructurally about the piles under that structure as well. So the complications of engaging with that, not even considering the funding being unavailable, was deemed something that we couldn't entertain, and we move forward with the project as was originally proposed, hoping to sort of minimize the disruption as much as we can, but just to work with what we have.
Robert Burke is asking, there was some concern that the budget wouldn't be sufficient to complete all of the work, including turning the end of Dyckman Street into the new entrance to the park. Is it possible that a contractor will not be identified within the budget?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So the key, I'm going to get back to talking about permits here. Sorry, but the key with this type of marine work, and what we're really concerned with, is that permitting, that DEC permitting, that Army Corps permitting, and all the other alphabet soup of permits have a component that's upland. It's a significant portion of the project. I think it's something in the range of $3 to $4 million of the total $16 million construction budget. And so we've always envisioned that depending on what bids we receive, if the bids are slightly higher than we anticipate, that we would focus on the in-water work so that we can utilize those permits, so that we don't have to extend permitting into the future for in-water work or delay it, and that we could potentially cut back on that Dyckman Street end, that change of the street end design that is part of this project. So there is some padding there where we can make that happen, and then potentially seek to fund that Dyckman Street work after the fact. So we've anticipated that on some level and have that cushion in mind. Of course, we're all subject to the inflation and things like that. So we will we'll know more about what that final contract number looks like when we can get our permits in hand and go out to bid and get that information. And we'll if there are further delays that relate to that or so forth, the community board certainly will be updated.
Thank you, Christopher. Sina Hasuna, I hope I say that correctly, has a question. Why was staging to allow uninterrupted community access not part of the visioning? That seems like it would be a core priority for a public space instead of focusing purely on first cost and ignoring the long-term cost to the community.
So the project scope and budget was envisioned, really it goes back, almost, Nate referenced it, 15 years plus for the community eco dock. There was some funding set aside a long time ago for that. But the bulk of the project was envisioned in the 2018 point of agreement for the rezoning of Inwood. And that's when there's a very specific item, I think it was item number 30, if I recall, I've looked at it a bit. But that item was in reference very specifically to the scope that we're talking about here. It envisioned restoring the waterfront structures, all the marine infrastructure. It envisioned the street end. It did not account specifically for maintenance of on-water access for the docks specifically in the area. So looking at the region up in Inwood, we do have alternative boating infrastructure. So we do consider sort of the regional holistic look at what's available. And while this is really the only site for the sailing vessels, right, at Dyckman, there is other on-water activity happening in the district or in the community, community board district to serve for on-water access. And that's, again, we're really trying to focus on doing this project as quickly as possible once the site needs to be closed in order to return the type of dock access that will serve for sailing vessels of the type that HRCS has and other recreational motorized vessels, large sailing ships like the Clearwater or other, we just sailed out of there on a vessel with the Congressman Espaillat's office not too long ago. So there are those types of large vessels that want to access that site, and so we definitely want to minimize that use. But even the scoped design for the temporary berthing that we looked at was really specific, hyper-specific to HRCS's vessels, and not necessarily accommodating of some of the even larger vessels that rely on our site. So and to look at that would have been an additional expense, deeper needs for deeper water, and so forth. So like I said, it really was focusing the project on expediting as much as we can the return of the site. Was our focus from the outset, lacking the additional funding that would have been needed to do a temporary berth. Again, that number, having looked at it now and scoped it through this process, so we did look at it, that number being about $3 to $4 million, totaling up to about a quarter of what the construction budget of the project actually was. It would have been a real challenge for us to accommodate temporary berthing through construction and achieve the goals that were put out, set forward in the points of agreement that originally funded the project.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jana.
Thank you, Luana. Two notes to that. To get anything great, when we are able to secure the funding, generally we do have to close the site. So Uptown Soccer, for instance, the brand new fantastic soccer field that is on the Hudson River at Dyckman Fields, right next to the marina. That site was closed for almost a year, and Uptown Soccer could not use it, and neither could other users. But they were very eager and anxious to have an improved, better, beautiful site, which is what they now have. So just a note there that in order to get something great, we do have to be able to access and utilize the site. Two, just some context for this street end, as just a reminder to us all. Our hub for Northern Manhattan Parks for District 12 is right there at the same location. It's a very congested site. It's where you enter Inwood Park, Dykeman Fields for Inwood Hill Park, for all the sports activities and leagues that play there. It's where everybody enters the Greenway at Fort Washington Park, and it's where our vehicles and the police are quite often needing that area, and it's the off-ramp. So in terms of, the construction work and the impact, I just want to thank Nate and his team because, and our capital unit, because I think that there was a lot of thoughtfulness too in terms of making as little, interruption as possible with daily operations.
We have one more question. How much of the budget have you already spent on design?
Thanks for the question. I don't have that exact number in front of me.
Pardon me, that was asked by Jeff. I'm sorry, say the last name again, Maeve.
I think it's Ignacek, but I could be getting it wrong.
Ignacek, yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but what's typical with capital projects and especially with marine capital projects, which are exceptionally expensive, you have the additional permitting and so forth. I think we look at something like a third for soft costs, maybe a little bit less than that, but I believe out of a total budget of about $22 million, our construction budget's about 16.
Okay, what was the price on I missed that. The design phase? What did you say that cost was? Or how much was already spent on the design phase?
I didn't say how much is already spent. There's still some money in contingency. I don't have that exact number in front of me. I have to dig pretty deep into my my files to put that together. But it was about $5 million was set aside for design and contingencies and all those sorts of things, and that money does get rolled over. Whatever's left over from design will get rolled over into the construction budget as well.
Alexis, just please note that I dropped the direct capital tracker item in for the marina, so you can look at the three phases and funding.
So
yeah, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I can't. Like when I get those.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
They don't.
I have it as well. I'm happy to share it.
Great.
That's not my point. What I was trying to tell her is something else. So when they have the chat, right? I don't get those reports, so I never see those links.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Maeve, if you can just drop that in the Q&A, that'll be great. That will give access to everybody, because I feel like the questions can be answered with this comprehensive report. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't think it's a comprehensive report unless, Jana, you link to something else. It's just the website that has the timeline, right?
This is the capital tracker that shows the total funding and the three phases, and it shows that design is complete.
It can definitely help answer many of the questions that are coming up, and that way we avoid asking those questions, and then the conversation becomes circular, and then I have to do a time check. Joy, did you have a question?
I had a quite minor, really correction to something said right at the beginning by somebody from Parks, maybe Chris, who said this was the only place where you could launch a vessel into the water in Manhattan. Not true at all. The only place you can launch something that needs a trailer to tow it.
Trailer. Thank you, Joy. We love launching human-powered boats wherever we can. I quadrupled the number of launches in my tenure. Yeah, a power boat. Sorry, I should have clarified. We can back a power boat and park a trailer.
Who's the detail?
The last thing I'll
But if
add
it's
is,
in the record, that's fine.
the soccer fields and the baseball fields, while it's also hard for them to close, like, we're the only site to our knowledge doing like adaptive sailing, doing accessible, our type of boats, not only in Manhattan, but I think in New York City. And with 79th currently closed, there is really no access north of like the Intrepid. And so unless something like the EDC Pier at 125th came online next year, it will be a 2-season closure, potentially 3. And it's really hard for those of you who work with nonprofits to know, you make these relationships with schools, you get people to trust you, you work with partners, you build that up, and then if there's a hiatus, you lose a lot of that. So it will not be that we can simply hit pause and come back.
I think the comparison is that these things happen. If we want access to newly improved facilities, it's like closing a bridge, closing a highway. So I want to now enlist the committee for the drafting of a resolution. Because what happens is we agree that we can write a resolution to fulfill the ask as an advice, as a way to advise Parks, a city agency, to act in good faith in reporting and giving the updates, in allowing the organization to continue operating if that is at all possible. And that would be presented during the next community board meeting for it to pass, and then it goes before the board for it to pass. But like I said, this is not a government agency. The community board serves as an advisory board to city agencies and to elected officials. And it's just, resolutions are usually just an advice and observation of what the community wants.
Yeah, so with the resolution would basically be twofold. Basically, we want
Twofold.
to stay updated, especially if he's talking about procurement starting in 3 weeks.
Exactly.
We want to make sure that that happens and we know whether it happens or not. And secondly, that if construction doesn't start before the
Right.
summer, that there is some way to
There is some
potentially
way
keep it
to
open,
extend
especially if
programming.
there's another license.
I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair ask. Nobody else? Go ahead, Alexis.
I don't really, I mean, I just think this is kind of sad but true, so it might not be doable. So I don't know. This is, really.
What is your apprehension, or what is your concern?
I just don't know if it's gonna, is this gonna cost more money? Is it gonna cost more delays? Is it gonna cause more problems in the long run?
Mm-hmm.
I know, because you're all looking at me like I'm gonna say something wrong, and I'm not, okay? Yeah, and so my concern is this gonna cause you more delays?
No, because I think what we're asking for is just whatever the timeline, well, I don't know if this is a question for.
I think it's
we're
a
not
question
asking-
for us.
Yeah.
I just.
What's that, Nate? Go ahead.
We're first of all, the project has been so delayed. Not to give the whole history, but Chris and I raised our hand to get this project unstuck. It was sitting at EDC for years, and we volunteered to move it forward. Similar to what Chris did with Muscota Marsh. And getting that dock rebuilt kind of said, hey, this project isn't moving forward, it has to, and it resulted in a beautiful new reconstruction that's totally compliant, ADA accessible, satisfied all the gauntlet of permitting agencies we've talked about. So it's the same approach here, folks. And yeah, I'd be lying. I mean, I keep quoting from Ezra Klein, how do we confer legitimacy upon government? It's by the amount of process we put it through, not on the timeline and cost effectiveness. It's through making sure we've touched base with everyone. It's actually quite empowering in New York City because we've really seen that in full display. So, and yeah, it was. We thought we had satisfied everything that DEC asked for. We've been cheek to jowl with them for 2 years on this. We've made some accommodations. We've figured out how the in-kind replacement will work. Figured out any mitigation requirements, the moratoriums. So again, we thought we were in procurement now. They did get this most recent response from HRCS, which we have to respond to, and we're getting that to them. So, that has delayed it, not significantly, but it is. But we do think that with that permit in hand, we can move forward. So, but you're right to be apprehensive.
Right.
The more you add to the process, the additional funding delayed it as well. There was a time where we gave the number to HRCS that if they could go raise those additional funds for the phasing and the reconstruction of another set of docks, that came from the commissioner where we said, okay, we'll give you until X date to get those funds you thought you would. So we delayed the project for that. You weren't able to get the funds. Chris mentioned Stantec Engineering spending time off budget to come up with that redesign as well. That added time to the design schedule. So that said, we're here now. I appreciate the apprehension. Again, it's I can tell you that when things get done in this realm, it's been completely vetted and touched by many people and gone through that full gauntlet. So, but yeah, you're right. You're right to be concerned about timelines as it relates to the process
I'll
here.
just add, I know there is a long history. We were given a month and a half to find $3 million for that project. So that was, we appreciate that Parks gave a staging solution, but that was never within, that was about double our entire budget at that point. And like Park said, it's asking for money for something that is then a tear down. I would just say I don't think it would delay, because all we are asking for is keep the marina open until the planned construction starts. So they say-
Provided that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
say if the planned construction starts in March, we don't have a season. If the planned construction starts in September, we stay open through August. So I don't think it would affect. Obviously, there's this question of docks. It sounds like Parks is figuring out, but yeah.
Chris, can I?
Jenna.
Yeah, just Chris, clarifying for me and perhaps for Maeve and everyone here. You mentioned, the winter docks, not bringing them back. Is there a cost, I assume, of bringing those back and then having to deinstall them?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have to get the funding for that. So that's what we're talking about internally.
Right.
And the contract. I
So
don't have the
that's-
contract in place for that.
Yeah, no, we
That
appreciate
wasn't part of the plan.
asking for something that would take additional effort and cost.
We just got this. Yeah, we just got this
Right.
request, so we're
Yeah. Well,
we're
and-
looking at it post haste.
Thank you, Nate. The reason I say that is because unfortunately at Parks, we are constantly looking at the level of funding that we have to do things. And it's, it's always a challenge for us to get it. Maeve, it was a challenge for you guys, obviously as well. It's very challenging to raise funds, and for us, it's really usually through elected officials. So that's why, this would delay and add extra costs. So there would have to be the funding found to address that.
Thank you. Jody, you have a question? Jody and then Daryl.
Well, no, I support the idea that, if it's not under construction, why not use it? But the issue that Jana just brought up is, I think we do need to know what the cost is gonna be in order to put these docks back in and take these docks back out. And the other thing, how when would you know whether you could use the 125? I'm not really, I'm not really.
I have no idea. We have a meeting with
That's what I'm not
EDC in
clear
a week and a half. I mean, if the city said, we'll drive pilings, we'll give you permits for moorings, we'll help you secure a gangway if there are docks Parks has. When we talked to them, Parks introduced us to them 2 years ago, and we were basically told oh, this is a 5-year project. We can start talking about it, but it would require a lot of permitting and funding. I think, and Nate and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, these are the types of things that kind of need some support from either a politician or an agency like EDC. So I have no idea. I mean, I know if they want to get something done and they have the money, they can do things very quickly, but we don't have the money for something like that. We would need the city to invest in it. I think there's a great argument for waterfront access there, and I think there'd be other groups, like paddling groups, but I find it very hard to imagine it would be before April. We're usually at Dykeman starting end of April, early May.
Well, and Luana, the reason I raised that question and just really wanted to highlight the fact that this is not as simple as just, moving docks in and out in a couple of hours, for instance, is that I think it's challenging to have this resolution when we don't know all of the moving parts and all the costs that are related to.
I agree.
That's my point, yeah. It would be a shame, though, if it does end up empty and closed all next season. I mean, obviously Parks would not like that either, but that is the real concern on that.
We're not going to close the site. We're going to have programming throughout
Well, if there's no waterfront
throughout the
access,
time.
there's
We're
no
not
water
the docks would be out, but we're going to continue to host
the
the
land
many
access.
classrooms we talked about.
Daryl?
Yeah, I guess my question is, I'm a little confused, do we need a resolution on anything?
That's
Because,
the
it
big
sounds like,
question,
well, we're
yeah.
really, everything seems like it would fall under our regular oversight purview that we can ask about every month, we don't.
Exactly.
Unless we're asking,
Yeah.
don't start something until the end
Exactly,
of next
and
summer.
that's not gonna be
but that's not
possible,
because
yeah.
of the docs and everything.
And maybe a letter of support or,
Well, for
And
now,
I-
just making sure they come back on a regular basis.
yes.
Yeah, well, and I pledge, as I shared, that, our Northern Manhattan Parks team Chris or I, when we report to you, we'll have the Dykeman Marina on our standing monthly update capital list.
I just wanted to say something.
Right.
So
Go ahead.
Everybody here is clear. Nobody wants to see you guys not have programming. Nobody wants to
Oh, I
see you guys,
understand.
nobody wants to see you guys fail. But unfortunately, and this really sucks, and I know because I deal with parks in my job, and Jana knows what we go through. Parks doesn't have a lot of money. The city doesn't have a lot of money. It is not easy being parks. They only get, 0.1% of the budget?
Not even.
Not even.
0.0, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why we
Point
always
five
support
five.
1% for parks.
Right.
And Mandami said that he would, I'm gonna make him deliver on that promise.
Yes, but having said all that,
Hold on, I'm glad you
is
got
I
that
just, I'm
power.
sorry, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
I'm speaking, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
So what I'm saying to you is, nobody here wants, we wanna help you, but everybody's hands are tied. I think, and at this point, all we can do, I don't think we can do a resolution, not because we don't want to, just because as long as we keep on getting the updates, and then if something goes wrong, then we can step in with a resolution. I just don't see this as something that's resolution ready. What we can do is, like you said, Jana, and who's very good about reporting on capital projects.
And Chris.
And always coming and giving the updates, and there's those trackers for transparency. So, happy to support in any other way, but I just don't think we can, I just don't think this is reso ready.
And the, is
Committee?
it the EDC, is that their,
DEC?
DEC, where the permit?
DEC is the permitting, EDC runs these other sites.
Right, yeah, so DEC, are they done? They're out of it now?
They're back in it because of the comments they received from HRCS last month. They had a comment period.
We don't
That's the
rarely
State
see
Department of
real
Environmental Conservation.
I believe Parks is in final stages with them. Yeah, we submitted a letter in the public comment period in October, but
Yeah, that letter came into us very, very recently. And
okay.
we're
Yeah,
having to
submitted.
respond to it by a certain timeline in order to, yeah, so it's the last step for us to turn that permit around.
Right, I mean, we could always ask our state officials.
I
Right.
think too, Chair, just, one other note for the record is that
Yes,
also
because I'm
what-
gonna do a time check where
Yes,
it's 2 hour, yeah. Mhm.
I will be 5 seconds.
No,
is-
I'm just saying, yeah.
You got it.
Don't rush.
Yep. Just again, for the record, for the notes, that, another complicating factor here is, like Chris Ami said, the alphabet soup. So there's so many different steps in this process that's also a very unique aspect of this project. And that includes time.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna take this pause to clarify that I believe now that the conversation is becoming a bit circular and we still have old business, new business to cover. And I'm gonna have to somewhat agree with the fact that, I guess the question is, what would a resolution achieve in terms of readiness, in terms of, the construction is not going to stop, right? All we can ask is for all parties to act in good faith and keep the process transparent. On the side of Parks, if there is an inkling of a delay, then maybe there is a possibility, right? And the challenge is that the docks are gonna come out anyway, they're just not going to be put back in. But also, the flip side to that is for Hudson River Community Sailing is to also, I'm not saying that you're not, I'm just stating it, to also act in good faith and be proactive in trying to find an alternative site. Is that a fair assessment on both sides? Because I want to be able to speak on both sides. I'm going to take one last question because it is 8:30, and we still have more things to cover in our agenda. Yes.
There was just one clarification.
Yes.
The docks could be removed but not destroyed when they are removed. That was at least what I understood part of the plan to be, was that they were not going to be, that they would not be able to install them again because they were going to be removed and
Salvage. Salvage. Salvage.
The docks, yeah, is that correct, Nate?
Yeah, that was the plan. That's how my fiscal year budget was structured. So now we're looking at what it would cost and what the mechanism would be to have them stored rather than salvaged, disposed of, and then brought back and then taken out again. That'd be next fiscal year that they get taken out.
Okay then, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Usually
We
when
appreciate
we
it.
have this, yeah, these conversations take time, they're difficult, but we will forge ahead. We're gonna go old business, Sally Fisher, but before, a point of personal privilege. I'm sorry, remind me of your name?
Peter Carpenter.
No, in the back. No, in the back. Usted sí, yes. Pablo, yes. Pablo missed the 2-minute programming update, or public comment. So we're gonna give him 2 minutes before we move on to old business and new business to present a case.
Pablo, what is your last name?
Pablo, what is your last name?
La Verde.
La Verde, like the green. Yeah, there, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read it because I don't wanna miss anything.
2 minutes.
All right, so I have an acting truck which is I bought about 5 years ago, and the truck delivered them with the area and be able to work on the park, which is the Jacob Jelly Playground in the Margaret Coving circle. Normally, the park department actually permit me to be able to sell either in a mobile food car or in a food truck. The owner before me had a permit for the actual truck. They had it for more than 2 years. And the last renewal of the contract, I've been having this permit for 3 years. The reason that there were many complaints for the community, because, well, I don't really know the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it looks like because of the noise or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess also because the truck used to park in front of the building. There are 2 entrances for the playground, which is one is in the back, the circle.
Right, by the rotunda,
in
yeah.
front of the building. So, what I think is that because the truck used to park in front of the building, there were so many complaints because of that. So what I'm trying to see if there any way we can park close to the playground, like no near to the building, like in the back. So we can probably work without any issues.
Okay.
So that's my concern.
So you were in the public, in the general board meeting, and you expressed this concern, but there's a twofold concern, in terms of the RFP that you signed up for, or that the previous owner was for a cart and not a, truck. So then we said that there is a possibility, this falls under the purview of small businesses or business development, but because you operate in parks, then there is a possibility for a resolution to be, I think the RFP can be reformatted, reformulated, but we can ask Steve that. Have you spoken to Parks about this? Parks is already, they left. Have you spoken to Parks?
No.
Oh, Jen is here. There
I'm
we
still
go.
here.
Yay,
Yeah,
Jen
I'm
is
still here. Yeah.
I was looking for you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I didn't really hear. Is there a question for me?
No, I'm letting him clarify first. Have you spoken to Parks?
No.
Okay, Parks is here. Jana, what can we do to help this gentleman continue with a viable business? Now, here's another question. Do you play the music for an extended amount of time?
Never.
Okay, because I love the song. I used to hear that ice cream truck on 207 when I was a child. So, yeah. So, you don't understand why the complaints, like where they're coming from, or if they're even justified. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Jana.
Okay, I didn't hear everything, but I think I know enough. This is actually an example of our concessions unit. So our concessions unit would have to talk with this person, Pablo, I think you said, to walk through your questions and give you answers. So I'm happy to connect him with our concessions unit.
Yay. Let's start. And I'm sorry, but that's, this is why I say we start at 6:35-ish. Thank you for staying at the end. Yes, Daryl.
I kind of quick, and you might have said this at the beginning. Where do you park, or where were you parked?
On Chapel Beach Playground.
Okay, right at Margaret Corbin Circle, right at the corner there. Yeah.
Okay.
And you were like kind of a little bit on the sidewalk, but not. You were kind of off. Yeah. And you said, I'm sorry, there was noise complaints.
Well, the truth is, there was a guy, like probably 2 years ago, and he was saying that the noise makes some.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like the noise complaints, it's only possible, it's like physically only possible from one building. And I don't wanna say, sometimes those people in that building have come here and they're annoying. But, yeah, so I would take their complaints with a grain of salt, honestly.
Thank you, Daryl.
They were the same people that complained about the basketball.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's true. But I guess I need to clarify something. Pablo, do you have a concession agreement with Parks right now?
Yes, I do have.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Then we definitely can talk about this. I work right there, Pablo. I'm in the cottage right across the street from Jacob Javits where you were parked. So I have heard some of the complaints just in terms of like some occasionally like blocking traffic or like your gas or like, the smell, the sound. But let's definitely discuss and see, how concessions unit can work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know where she's at. She's in the little house, the cottage, right inside Margaret Corbin. I'm sorry.
Margaret
Corbin
Corbin.
Circle.
Yeah.
Corbin Circle.
And
Thank
Pablo,
you so very much.
You're welcome to come over and call us. We're there every day, like 9 to 6, 9 to 7 sometimes. And, if you come over, we can just make a phone call and try to connect you.
All right, is anybody can give me her phone number can provide out with that?
Jenna, can you please repeat your contact information?
Sure, I'll put it in the chat too. But my phone number is 917-618-1154. That might be the
Again, slower. Thank you.
917-618-1154.
Thank you so much, and thank you. And I bought ice cream from your truck, and I bought from my niece, and yeah, and I'm a little bit concerned that there might be some biases there that we will not speak about, but we'll let it resolve itself.
Oh, no, why can't we speak about that?
Oh, well, Alexis is always ready to talk about biases and all of that, so.
There's a lot of white privilege up in that building, and that's exactly what's going on.
Oof. Okay, she said it. All right, thank you. Thank you. Moving it along, thank you so much. I hope the conversation was productive, amicable, and let's continue the conversation. And now what we're going to do as a community board is make sure that Parks keeps us fully updated on the progress of the marina. Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Old business.
No, I have new business about selling.
I thought that was old business.
No, it may be new.
New? But we discussed it during the last time.
Well, anybody even care? People don't get nothing new then?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Well, it doesn't matter, we don't have new business, so I don't think so.
So, Sally Fisher will have.
Our meeting is still continuing, so sorry. Yeah, I didn't close the meeting.
Sally Fisher will have been gone from us for 3 years at the end of this month. And she dedicated her life to parks, this community, and the environment. Testing water, testing soil, literally almost every single day. And it's very important to many of us who are close to Sally to give her the recognition she deserves. She did not have it easy. Her son died of a drug overdose. He was an organ donor. She got a call asking if they could use his face as a transplant. And so her son, she gave permission upon her son's death to allow a young man in California who shot himself in the face to receive his face as a transplant. Which I think is one of the bravest things anybody could do. So it is extremely important to not only to me on a personal level, to Daryl, many people on this board, to do something in honor of Sally. And since Parks allows it after 3 years, we're gonna roll. I did speak to Chris from Inwood, well, emails from Inwood Hill Park. And just get
If you just raise your voice a bit.
yeah, let me just get them.
Alexis,
And
yes.
Alexis, while you're looking for that, I just want to make a note for everybody listening that Chris Whitney co-founded Friends of Inwood Hill Park with Sally Fisher.
That's what I was gonna, yeah, that's what's in my notes. So I did speak to Chris Whitney, who did co-found it. And he said, I'm just gonna read what he wrote, because it's probably easier that way. They're talking about revitalizing the entrance at Seaman and Isham Street for the grand reopening of the baseball fields this spring, and planning to include the gardens around the entrance. The plan is for the gardens to be focused on butterflies, native plants, and community care. Dedicating them to Sally would be an honor, and definitely in her spirit. We're working with Parks and other partners on the entrance project, and are thinking of having a fall fundraiser to support the project with supplies and the work of the gardener. We've got $5,000 donation to support the work and hoping to add to it. I want to know what we think of that idea. I think that, like we said, maybe naming a part of that garden, particularly the butterfly garden, because that's something actually she did for me at Morris Janelle Mansion. I had her do garden summer camp for 2 years in a row, and she created a butterfly garden for us there.
Pollinators.
Oh, yeah. So we would like to work with Inwood Hill Park, and I'll ask Chris if he can come to the next meeting to talk about creating, naming a butterfly garden and creating a resolution in Sally's honor. And that's it. That's all I gotta say.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Thank you, Alexis, for really taking charge, and Daryl also for spearheading this. I didn't know Sally Fisher. I came to the board after she departed, she passed. But it's always lovely to hear that somebody was so involved with the community. And I also happen to love butterflies, pollinators, and all of that. And I think that if this is something that is viable, I support the resolution. And I'm quite sure that Alexis and Daryl will draft a fabulous resolution for the committee.
We'll do it.
And,
Let's
yeah.
talk to Chris.
Yeah, and I would just add, like I sent you an email about
Yes.
the pollinator garden idea, and I think because it is something that's living, she loved her butterflies, she loved her bees, and we don't have a pollinator garden in Inwood Hill Park, so, and instead of like maybe a plaque or something, this is, something that is going to be, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah,
living,
it's
breathing, so to
living,
speak.
yeah. I love the idea.
Yeah, I do too. I like that idea.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know her, but I just.
So-
She was a force.
Oh, fantastic. So before, sorry. Go ahead, Jody.
No, she was, I just answered her question.
So the next step is for the committee to have a resolution passed by the next meeting, and I'm quite sure, Alexis, we're going to collaboratively write a resolution, yes?
I want to talk to Chris first. I want to see if he wants to come to a meeting in
Fantastic.
December, and then he says.
And then,
yeah, we'll take
for
it.
January,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we are officially on the public record extending an invitation for Parks to present on this pollinator. And then the committee will have an ask of the possibility of naming the pollinator garden in the name of in memory of Sally Fisher, and then we will draft the resolution.
And just
How
a
does
note
that sound?
just a note, that's Chris Whitney from Friends of Inwood
Chris
Hill.
Whitney, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, that's
not
on
Parks, I'm sorry. Chris, I'm thinking about Chris Hyman from Parks,
know.
I'm sorry. Chris Whitney. So I'm quite sure that via Kaya during her reports, she can bring Chris because Friends of Inwood Hill, they always come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Alexis motions to adjourn. Do I get a second? Thank you. Second. Meeting over by 11:45. We're over by 15 minutes.
8:45.
8:45.
8:45. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 8:45. I said 11?
Yeah.
You know where my mind
That'd be
is.
great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Please thank both Nate and Chris, and thank
will.
you, Jana. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.